I have some familiarity with senior housing. I live in senior housing. It's senior housing because I live there. A couple of things, and I won't take as much time as other people have taken. A couple of little things. I've noticed over the years several projects come in to this town regarding housing, and there has been a recurring theme of not enough parking area. And I don't remember the names of all of them, but I remember there have been more than two or so. And this strikes me as one more that has not enough parking area, not enough car area. And the answer always seems to be, and I'm sure that it's sincere and I'm sure that it's correct, the answer seems to be that it meets the standards. It sort of wraps up in meets the standards. Well, that may be so. I have no doubt that all these things do meet the standards. My response to that is that there's something wrong with the standards, because I still see too many of these things where there just isn't enough parking for them. Second thing is, and could we have the photograph of the overhead, kind of the helicopter shot there? That's not it. That's not that. Yeah, that's fine. And I've driven by there a couple, 3 times. I went there by there with a map. I've looked at it. So I actually have seen the property. I was over there today again, in fact, just to take another look at it. And I understand what Mr. Saunders says about the area being in transition. Certainly the overhead view shows some transition, and I think Mr. Saunders, is that correct pronunciation of your name? I think he's certainly an articulate advocate for your cause, and I'm not going to try to litigate against you. I know better than that. But I would submit that if the area is in transition, and once this sort of uppercase F area gets transitioned, that seems to me that it locks out those other 4 residential lots, because then what's the transitional phase for those? What do they eventually transition to? Do they just remain single-family homes? Do we turn them into a ball field? Somebody puts in a Starbucks? I don't know what those other things eventually transition to, because they're so small, relatively speaking, that there's nothing that I can imagine that could fit in there as the next sort of transitional phase. So it seems to me that if the transition is to have this project end up at this sort of uppercase F thing, and I'm pretty sure that does not stand for my family name, if it ends up being that, then these other 2 spots seem to be locked in there kind of for perpetuity. And this looks like then it's one of these things that after I'm gone, 42 years from now, people are going to walk by and say, why'd they do that? Why'd they do that? Why didn't they just buy these other pieces of property when they were at it, fill in the whole rectangle, and do it right? Because otherwise it looks like a halfway kind of a thing. Those are my questions. I know it won't have any basis on make anything change or anything any different, but I just wanted to bring those things up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller.